And we are live.
Okay, yes, we are. Okay, welcome everybody, and welcome to today's exciting panel discussion on the power of inquiry. My name's Kim Neal. I'm a relationship counsellor in Newcastle, Australia. And I'm fortunate to be the host today and presenting a wonderful panel of 5 lovely ladies. And what I'll do is introduce our ladies and get them to explain a little bit more about themselves. So I'd love to start with Beverly. Beverly, could you tell us more about yourself?
Oh, sure. Why not, Kim? I'm really glad to be here. Always love these discussions because you never know where they'll go. I'm Beverly Ackerst. I am the owner of Ocean Breath Yoga and Rhythm of Your Life. Rhythm is the Sanskrit of rhythm, rites of rituals. It's the underlying laws of nature that govern everything of the material world. That is us. So I help guide people into posture, into food, into being with nature, all the things that bring us back into rhythm with our being, the way we were actually created to be. Within that, I'm an author. I do craniosacral therapy. I do forest bathing, anything again that can help draw people back into the space of being. That is my joy. That is my passion. And here I am.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that. And next, Esther, would you like to say a bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Esther, and turns out I'm a neighbor of Beverly's. She lives in Vancouver, and I live just outside in Surrey-Langley border. And my company is called Mind Myself, and I'm the founder and CEO. And the idea sparked long before I even knew that this was going to happen. And I had a health crisis. I had 10 inches of blood clot in my arm. Western medicine saved my life, but they couldn't take me any further. And so the website that I've created over the last 4 years is all about complementary, holistic, and integrative health. And it's a place where everyone can come, but I've designed it specifically for you women who are 40s and up, because that's the time when we're looking at our bodies and saying, what's going on? How do we go into this next phase of our lives? What information do we need? What help can we access? And so Mind Myself is a place where you can go and find credible information and look at podcasts and read blogs and look at definitions of complementary and holistic approaches. And what does that actually mean? And so this is my gift to the world. And I'm so passionate about helping women feel seen and heard and supported in their health journeys. And the tagline really is, because you matter.
Wonderful. Thank you very, very much. And Samantha, welcome.
Thank you, Kim, and thanks to Sacred You for this opportunity. I am mother of an autistic young woman, which has informed my communication business to focus really on supporting people, anyone, health caregivers, first responders, or parents, or just friends that are open to learning about how to adjust and accommodate and hopefully support autistic, mostly adults, is what is the area I'm focusing on. So yeah, I'm a communication guide, an autism advocate, and also mediator and facilitator. I have a background as a lawyer, but I've done lots of things like being an Ayurveda and yoga teacher. So I'm very drawn to the spiritual and the holistic. I love the fireworks. So yes, a very well-rounded life experience, I would suggest. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. And a lawyer, what a combination of things to be, you know? But thank you for being here and welcome.
Yes, I just want to add, sorry, Kim, that I am stepping out as a keynote speaker in the world. So hence me wanting to have more opportunities to to share my message and my mission.
Wonderful.
you.
Thank you. Joanne, lovely to see you again.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Kim. Thank you. And I'm excited. This is going to be these amazing women and the gifts they're going to be sharing today. So I'm actually a coach, an empowerment coach. I work with women mainly in the realm of anxiety, overwhelm, just and generally emotionally, you know, navigating life. And I've been in the wellness and healing realm, nutrition, all of it for the last 40 years. So it's been my life's work to, you know, come and support women primarily in navigating their life on their journey, on their terms. And, you know, knowing that all these things that we're going through has a message. It's here to help us and guide us and lead us to where we need to go. So there's nothing wrong with us. It's, you know, it's normal to experience the things that we do. We're human beings living, you know, this human existence, but we can really drill down and be guided by our emotions and heal from that place. So thank you for having me. I'm excited to get into this juicy conversation.
Yes, we are. And thank you. Lovely to see you. And Heidi, welcome.
Thank you, Kim. Good to see you. And wow, what an amazing group of women. I can't wait to see this conversation unfold. My favorite thing is working with people to transform personal and generational trauma so they become their own best friend. And as we know, often people have been through pretty severe trauma and things like that. We have the voices in our head that take over and a lot of other things, and we're not necessarily that kind to ourselves. So through difference, I'm a transformational coach. I have multiple certifications in that and a health coach also, as well as a somatic practitioner, which is using different modalities to help the body. Our body remembers everything. And that's why I'm so excited about this conversation, because I use inquiry a lot with my clients. And I've also written 3 best-selling books, and I'm co-author of 2 and a speaker. I also have a retreat center. I'm a grandma, which is very exciting, watching a little kid being raised in a wonderful way. So that hopefully she won't have as much to deal with as many of us have had when we've gotten older. And so that's basically me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, ladies. We've got, as you say, an amazing panel here, and we'll start off our conversation. And Esther, I'm going to choose you to start the very first one, and then we'll go around and each of you, if you could give your understanding of what does the power of inquiry mean to you, and why is it significant in various aspects of your life? So, Esther, it's all yours.
Okay. When I first saw this topic, I went, yes, because I am so inquisitive and I'm a curious person, and I always have been. And to me, inquiry is about curiosity. And I've even been told on occasion in my life that I ask too many questions. But I have a deep, deep curiosity about people and their stories. And I think that if we squish our curiosity and we squish our ability to inquire about things, then we're really not living a deep and full and rich life, because there's so much to be learned. And everyone has a story. And everyone has things as a person that we can relate to if we just ask questions. And I love when I'm meeting a stranger for the first time and we get to sharing and there's a mutual exchange, because it's about curiosity and caring. To me, inquiry is really about caring and being passionate about life. And I could go on, but I'll leave it there for now.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. Samantha, for you.
Thank you. Yes, I was going to bring up the word curiosity as well. some of my work, a lot of my work is informed by nonviolent communication. And I remember it being absolutely mind-blowing when I came across the two questions that nonviolent communication mainly focuses on, which is, what is alive in you right now? Which to me felt like such an obvious thing, but for those who don't get what that is, it's what's floating at the top of your awareness right now. It might be a certain thoughts that are persistent, or it might be a bodily sensation that's bothering you. Absolutely anything, but the important thing is it's happening right now in the moment. So it doesn't matter what you did yesterday and your stories about that. That question to me makes me feel alive. Just the question, and which has the word alive in it. And the second question is, how can I make life more wonderful for you? Or how can you make life more wonderful for me? And there, that brings in the consciousness and awareness of what needs are maybe lacking, or what needs are alive, and what would I love more of right now in my life. So,
Wonderful.
yeah, those, and just to finish off, those questions were such a ray of sunshine to me, because I thought to this question, how are you, just never had meaning for me, and I didn't know how to answer it, but these questions I totally wanted to answer. And yeah, I really appreciated that.
Yeah, the right questions can just change lives, very powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Joanne, you're the lucky next.
Fabulous. Yeah, curiosity that's sparked my my energy, I guess. But for me, the power of inquiry is the doorway to that, to self-discovery and self-empowerment. And I have actually made it a practice, because a daily practice, because it gives the ability to navigate my life in the direction of my dreams and my desires and what I choose and want, and so understanding the self or myself as it's significant in my life, because it helps me to understand myself and allows me to heal those parts of myself that that need the love, the time, the support, so that I can keep moving in that direction, and I can keep, fulfilling my dreams and goals and being guided by that. It's there's that part it's almost like your inner guidance system, and when you get connected with it, it's connected to that part of that inquiry that you, if that makes sense. I'm trying to feel into that, but it's that being guided to my inner knowing and being directed and listening. I mean, listening is a real key. Like we can get all these messages, and whether it says come from source or come from spirit or come from whoever you connect with, there's also a part of us inside that is led by that. Does that make sense? So yeah,
Yes.
That's the reason, why I feel it's so significant, because it can heal your life, really.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's a very powerful practice and process.
To go to those deeper places rather than the surface.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Heidi.
I love everything that everybody's saying, the curiosity and the healing that comes from it. I use inquiry in another way, being a somatic practitioner and a teacher of continuum movement. I use something, and what I love to call is open inquiry. So inquiry is the curiosity of looking and all of that too. Open inquiry, when I'm working with my body or having somebody work with their body, is actually listening to your own body. And what does it tell me it wants? How does it want to move? You know, and in so many of us are used to, we're doing a movement because somebody says, this is how you do the movement, this is how you do the practice. Open inquiry with the body is, how does my body want to move? And allowing it to tell me, letting it to open my curiosity. So again, instead of me sort of being curious about my body, it's my body being curious about me, and creating this deeper relationship that helps move us out of patterns that are very restrictive. You know, we need patterns to walk, and we, you know, if we can't walk and talk, we're going to have an interesting time in the world. Yet we can get so patterned, whether that's from hurt, whether that's defense, whether that's just trying to live in the world. And so open inquiry is really allowing my own innate curiosity to ask me and inquire of me and inquire of my body what's going on. So it's just a little different sort of way of using inquiry.
Yeah. And there's so many different ways to use inquiry, and, you know, it's, yeah, there's great depth in it. It really is. Thank you, Heidi. Beverly, you're the last one on this question.
Oh, the last one. First, last. What I love about everything everyone shared is it just proves the point of the power of inquiry. There's no answer that was given from people here who haven't gone through some form of inquiry internally. Inquire. Quire is from the same root as quest. So it's questing inwards, in seeking to what is truth, what are reasons. It can be on a physical level, an energetic level, a mental level. But we're living in a world that tells us, just listen outside, take everyone else's word for it. This is how it is. And we're taught to not go into that deep space. So for me, the power of that inquiry is that seeking in, that going in and stopping for a moment, letting the busyness of everything pause, and really coming to an understanding, as Heidi said, of what is going on physically on a somatic level. If you've ever seen anyone tremor, a guide tremoring, the body knows. The body will pattern itself free of traumas in a tremor response. But on another level, it's this mental inquiry, the words itself, inquiry and query, come from the Sanskrit root of ka and nyo. And nyo is gnosis, knowledge, and ka is to seek. It's by questioning who, what, why. So you put them together. When you start asking, ask of yourself first, and then ask what you see outside of yourself. You're creating wisdom because you're gnawing away. That's what neo is, to gnaw away at what you thought was truth and go deeper and deeper and deeper. And you feed yourself by that gnawing, just like a mouse. They nibble at everything. They get nourishment from it. So we get nourishment from all of this inquiry as well. We grow. Our brains, our frontal cortex will shrink if we're not in inquiry. If we just stay in a fear response, we never have a more expansive view. You can actually look at the brain, it starts to atrophy. So the power of inquiry is not just a physical experience, it's a creative experience that gives us a broader spectrum of life to see, to be available to, whether it's being able to then look at somebody and see it in them or see it in ourselves of what we want to find.
What a wonderful combination of answers from all of you. This next one, which is going to be for Samantha to start us off, is, can you share a personal experience where asking a particular question led to a significant discovery or positive change in your life or your work?
Yeah, well, I've shared about the questions that continually change how receiving empathy through those questions, what is alive in you right now? And then listening, which somebody mentioned, listening is such an important part of the inquiry too. Really deeply listening and then reflecting back. That has been, in my experience, absolutely life-changing. I think that growing up, I never felt completely heard. Well, I didn't feel heard at all. I didn't feel seen and heard. So having those experiences really through the nonviolent communication community of being fully heard and having my needs reflected back to me, my needs people guessing, my partner guessing what my needs are, and reflecting that, checking with me, that has really been transformative, because I guess it really just comes down to, for me, that's what love is, wanting to deeply know how it is for another person. And I just want to also bring in awareness of autistic people here, because they often aren't aware of how they feel emotionally or physically. Their brains work differently, so many autistic people often won't be able to answer the question about, how do you feel, or what's happening in your body. So we have to find other ways than the inquiry that we might be used to. So that is just something to be aware of, because when I tried to use these questions and these tools with my daughter, they just not being heard through empathic listening and active listening. So yeah, I think I'll pass on I'll pass on.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for such a wonderful personal answer. Yeah, that was heartfelt. Thank you. Joanne.
Yeah, I love that, Samantha. And our children are our greatest teachers. I have a grandson. I have three grandchildren, but I have a grandson who is neurodiverse, and he has taught me so much about, listening and learning and understanding his needs, because he has no emotional connection, and we work differently. It's just a gift to me to be able to spend time with him and be able to, support him on his journey in a way that he understands. So I really appreciate what you brought in there. It's a little bit emotional, really, but what I wrote down for the question earlier is totally different to what I'm going to actually share with you now as an example of my personal experience. And being, asking the questions in my deepest, darkest days, my deepest, darkest moments, which was about 35 years ago now, when I was 6 months pregnant with my son, my fourth child, and I was left on my own, and I went into this deep hole. And if it wasn't for my, I don't know, inner guidance supporting me to look for what I needed, my life would never have changed. And through the questioning of what am I going to do? How am I going to get through this? I was in a depression, actually. And and just through asking, it's almost like I gave it all up to God and asked what next. and things showed up. People showed up. You know, it was a miracle, really. And my life just took off in a different direction. You know, the fear was turned into courage to step in. You know, I landed a work from home position in a health and wellness role, and things just happened. I traveled the world, right, as a single mum. It was just phenomenal. When you actually ask, you will receive, as long as you're open to it. So that is probably the experience I wanted to share. But there's many, 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 many like that, just through asking and being guided to the work. And the work at the time for me was actually Louise L. Hay's work back then. And that's what put me on that path, and everything landed. And it's just been, it hasn't been an easy road. It's never an easy road as a single parent, but it's what kept me going. It's what pulled me out of that depression. So that's my little personal experience, one of.
Wow. Another wonderful, deep and meaningful story, and heartfelt. Thank you. Thank you. Heidi, 'tis you.
Yeah, gosh, there's actually two that are coming to mind, and I can relay them very quickly. The first was when my memories of childhood came back about 11 years ago. I had absolutely no memories of childhood, and they literally, I was driving to my mentor's office, and all of a sudden these images and things started flooding in. As I always say, I don't even remember getting to her office. I am so grateful for muscle memory because somehow my car got there and I'm in her office. And after doing the work and getting settled with the memories and things like that, one of the biggest questions that I had to ask was what was going on in the perpetrator's minds in my world. And that's an amazing question because it takes you out of takes you out of yourself and into understanding what happened in the other person's world. And that's where you suddenly realize that it really wasn't me that caused the abuse, but it was their hurt, their pain, the things that were going on. So that's a really important question. And then the other one just came up as Joanne was saying, and I just want to throw this in real quick. I guess I'm 65 now, and I guess I was probably about 30. And I was driving down the road, and it was one of those beautiful skies and everything. And I just, all of a sudden, this question popped up: what's beyond God? And I remember asking that question while driving my car, and it was like this huge energy and sense of the vastness that is beyond what we define things to be. So those are probably two questions in my life that have really changed so much of who I am and how I operate, and put me into total inquiry about everything.
Yeah.
Like Esther, I totally relate to when everybody goes, another question? It's like you just, I just never stop asking internal and external questions. So
Yeah, sometimes it's those darkest moments which make us ask that question, which change our lives. You know,
yeah.
it's an incredible power, incredible. Beverly, 'tis you, my dear.
To me, in our matchy clothes, it's kind of appropriate that I follow Heidi because I think we have similar energies going on here. It's funny. I was looking at the question, and it was really hard to just find one moment that really stood out. There's many, and there isn't one that isn't connected to the other because of inquiry. But I will go with one of the bigger moments of inquiry, which is why I'm here and doing what I do. And it was back when I was 42. My father had just passed away from pancreatic cancer, a long, 5 months struggle with it. And I kept pushing. I was still doing a lot, and I was still just in this spiral. And I had 3 separate ambulance visits to the hospital. In the third one, they popped me onto the cardiac unit for a week at the age of 42. Couldn't believe I was walking and talking. Literally, they're like, we don't even know how you're standing. You should be dead, basically. And I thought I was just peachy. They plugged me into all sorts of machines, laid me in my own little room in the dark with all these 80-year-olds in surrounding rooms. And I slept for 22 hours a day. At the end of it, the doctor insisted, even though he did not know what was wrong, he insisted that it would be best to burn out a piece of my heart, do an ablation, maybe give me a pacemaker. And I sat with myself and just did this check-in, because everything was fine at the end of 7 days. And what had I done? I slept 22 hours a day. I'm like, I was exhausted. I was heartbroken, and I needed to do this. I needed that break from everything. So I gave it to myself. And in looking at it, I asked what I needed to do, which was not the operation. I went back to my yoga, to my breathing. And that course of action of just trusting that thing of saying, you don't need your heart burned apart. You needed the rest. Of trusting in that first question led me on a path. I'm now almost 58 of going, give up everything, become a yoga teacher. Because I went back to my yoga. It worked. Why aren't I doing this? Let everybody else know. That changed. That then shifted into what's the inquiry about how this all ties together. Deeper dive into the yoga, open my own studio, open my own school, become a coach, become a facilitator, become rhythm of your life. Like everything has been an inquiry of, okay, what's the next? What is this tied to? What does this offer? Where does this need to go? Is it in the writing? Is it in something else? And each piece. During COVID, it was the inquiry of why am I being asked to slow down here? Not why is the world stopping? Why am I being asked to stop for a moment? Because I needed to change everything in my life again. I separated from my partner at that time. I moved into a different space again, and I changed everything I was sharing. So inquiry, if we listen, and it comes up in another question, so I won't go deeper, but it's for me, it's been that life-saving force of discovering where there was abuse in my life, not out of looking at something going, why am I broken? It's like, why are things bubbling to the surface now? Oh, that. And as Heidi said, being able to be an observer to all the experience rather than owning it and seeing where it takes me.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Esther.
Beautiful stories. Thank you. Incredible women here. I had the privilege of spending time with an incredible woman who you may have heard of. Her name was Madeline Langle. She's an author. And I spent a week in her presence. It was so awesome up in Salmon Arm in BC. And there was a whole miracle at a restaurant in a foyer in the middle of Sunday evening rush into Red Robin's. But anyway, and of anybody who in my life, she's probably been the closest. When I was about 30, of going, what do I believe? What do I believe? And that might seem either obvious or self-evident, but it really wasn't. And I had lived in a place of cognitive dissonance around the beliefs that I grew up with, the religious beliefs in particular, but our life values. And there was an undercurrent that I believed then and still believe now, which is love is the foundation of everything. But there was so much that accompanied and was put on top of that notion. And I was at a place of going, well, finding God. Yeah, I love it, Heidi. You talked about what is beyond God. Well, I was always trying to find God, and I never could seem to get there. And people around me seemed to have these experiences. And I was looking for an experience. And so when I was 30 and I had to come face to face with this question, what do I believe? And I had to make a very conscious choice to go down that path. And what happened is I ended up leaving the tradition that I grew up in and walking away, not in anger, but in exploration and saying, I need to find out for me what I believe. And even if I never arrive at the actual answer, I need to be in the exploration. And I'm 60. I just turned 60 less than a month ago. Feeling good. They say 60 is the new 40. And yes, that's true. I can say it here. It truly is. And I feel like I'm still in that question. What do I believe? If someone said, okay, put the fine point on it. Tell us exactly what you believe about eternity, about life, about the meaning of life, about all of those things. I'm not sure I could still give you an answer, but I do know I am in the journey. I am still in the question, and I'm living it and breathing it. And I'm loving my life, which was different than before. I think I lived in a bit of low-grade depression for decades, and I don't now. And so I want to continue embodying that question. What do I believe? And to your point, Samantha, about feel, and what do I feel? And I love that all you women have talked about there's the internal and external, because it is about going inside, but it's also about coming outside. It's the physical and emotional and spiritual and mental, and it's about what's happening out there too. So the question, what do I believe? And being in the journey of that, I would say, has changed my life.
I'd just like to say I've never really thought about that the question was more important than the answer. But without the question, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. So yes, I can understand that why it is so important. Okay, next exciting question, starting with Joanne. In what way can the practice of inquiry lead to personal and professional growth and development? And I know some have already touched a little on this, but if we can expand.
Yeah, so many ways. It can change your life essentially. And one way that I love to work, and with all the ladies have alluded to it here, is through body work. And that external indicator that tells you that there's something to look at. So my greatest practice, which I've been doing for 37 years, is on the mat, doing yoga, like working with the body to really understand what's coming up through the pain, through the uncomfortable, through all the things, and understanding that it's the discomfort is a block that you could be working with to go deeper into the self, into the soul. So that's one way. So body work really is a really lovely way actually to learn about the self, whether it be yoga or Pilates, Tai Chi, all those things that when you're in the intention of, in the breath of, in the totally present with, it will tell you, it will give you the information. So yeah, I feel like that is, that's a great indicator. And then blending the two with the questions.
Wonderful. Thank you. Heidi, you again.
Hello again. I don't think anybody grows without inquiry. And I don't think anybody lives without natural inquiry, whether we're conscious of it or unconscious of it. If you look at an adult, like professional, if I'm, for example, miserable in a job, I might be sitting here going, why am I so miserable? How do I change this? We're constantly, when we are unconsciously unaware of how much questioning we actually are always doing for ourselves. What's fun is when you start changing that natural inquiry that we have, because all change happens because somewhere a question was asked and you change again, whether you're conscious of it or not. What's fun for me and for clients and stuff is that learning to be very conscious of all the questions we're constantly asking in our own mind. And in the work I do, many times because of being brought up in harsh environments, people are always asking negative questions. And it's very often very unconscious. Why am I unhappy? Why am I miserable? Why this? And when we start to consciously change that around, instead of why am I miserable, to, you know, as Beverly and everybody was actually saying, it's, oh, what is this circumstance trying to teach me? What is the learning that's going to happen? Instead of the why is this happening to me? Oh, why is this coming to me at this time for my growth? So for me, we are just always questioning. It's bringing that questioning into a conscious space that I think has been most important in my development, both professionally and personally, and also with the clients that I work. Just becoming aware of that place in us that's always questioning.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Beverly.
Hi. Again, we can all answer the question differently, and I think it always comes back to the same root. This is like everything. This is a practice. Inquiry is a practice. You're not going to say, hey, I'm going to run a marathon and go run it. You're going to say, hey, I'd like to run a marathon. Now I'm going to go walk around the block first because I've been sitting on the couch the whole time. And then I'm going to walk around 2 blocks. And then maybe I'm going to get a good pair of running shoes, and you keep adding on. So this practice, there's a first question. It's like, wait a second, I've been completely unaware of life. Okay, what is it I'm doing here? First question. Then you practice that. And then another question will come in. Once you think you have the answer, you realize, no, that was just the first question. That's just that, oh, I went for a walk. It feels good. Oh, I asked a question. It felt good to ask the question. I noticed something a little bit different. So the importance of it is we strengthen the muscle of inquiry. Everything in us is like a muscle, even if you can't see it. We are strengthening that by asking and asking. And people mistake inquiry for, oh, I have to go on this big esoteric journey. No, it could just simply be, is that really how I need to eat? Am I just rushing into it because it's habitual? Okay, habit is something we wear. Let me take off that habit for a second, stand back before I put that in my mouth. Oh, I actually don't want that. I'm just upset. Great. Inquiry just showed you something. Doesn't mean you don't go have the bag of chips, but you notice for the first time ever. Inquiry is presence. It takes you into presence. Inquiry can't happen outside of the present moment. So by simply stopping and pausing and being present, inquiry has already occurred. And if we keep practicing it every single day, doesn't mean it's easy. It's really hard to train for a marathon, bloody hard. So if we do this every day, it's going to be hard. There's going to be days where we put our head under the covers, go, no, I don't give a damn anymore. I want to go watch a movie and not think. But it doesn't mean tomorrow you don't wake up and go, okay. This is a relationship with us, with all of life. If you were in a marriage and you never inquired whether they were in a good place in the marriage breaks apart. So we have to choose. I have to choose. We each choose by the whatever way that serves us to check in with that relationship over and over and strengthen that muscle. I'll leave it there.
Thank you. That was powerful. Thank you.
Thanks.
Esther.
Love that, Beverly. This is such a great conversation. I love the presence, the inquiry as a muscle and being present. One of the things that one of the reasons Mind Myself exists is to help women get more present. And how do we do that? Well, one of the things we must do is pay attention to what's going on inside our body. And if we've never done that, I think there are so many of us in the whole world that have lived, this is another phrase that I've heard or come up with, we have lived in our heads, and the body has been considered an inconvenient receptacle that we have to house and water and feed and clothe and do all those things to, but it's not, it's this precious instrument. And how do we pay attention to that? And sometimes it's a question, an inquiry, of taking a moment and pausing and asking, what do I feel in this moment? And back to Samantha's question, what is alive in me right now? I love that. I'm going to use it. What is going on right now inside me? What do I need to pay attention to? We notice the big things sometimes, but by then it can be too late, or it can be so far down the road of being proactive if we had stopped and looked a little sooner and gotten present and exercised that muscle of inquiry and said, what am I feeling? What is my body trying to tell me right now? What is my higher self, or whatever it is that you believe? What is the message that is trying to emerge right now? The more that we can do that, I believe the more powerfully we will show up in the world, the more powerfully we can advocate for ourselves, the more powerfully we can advocate. And I'll end with that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so for a few moments and take a deep breath. A lovely exercise to regulate the nervous system, which I relate to the subject. Curiosity is just to slowly turn your head from side to side and look to the right, and just look at everything in the room, and then slowly move across and look to the left. And this is being curious physically. It sits in the neck. I think that's what I read from Bessel van der Kolk. There's something about the way our heads move and neck moves that embodies curiosity. And obviously when the neck gets stiff, then there may be issues around that. Not being curious, but maybe we'll talk about that in the next question. There's so many things I wanted to add following on from what other people have said. Like, I love the question, what is a more empowering way of looking at this? Or how is this a good thing? So in terms of professional or personal development, everything that happens to us, can I really ask, that's what I've been asking lately, how is this a good thing? And it can actually make you laugh. It's a light-hearted sort of question, even in the face of something that might appear to be a bit of a disaster. I really enjoy what is called a dyad practice, where two people sit with each other, and there's different questions you can use. There's a couple of different traditions of doing this. but one question is, who are you, or what are you? And then for 5 minutes, the other person just allows like a stream of consciousness flow to come up. What thoughts are arising, what feelings, sensations in the body. They can move and express themselves however they want. Whatever comes up, they can stand up and dance, while the listener just is completely present and just observes them with eyes open. And this is a beautiful practice that I feel I get a lot of benefit from, and it helps to give my whole nervous system a break from the mind, the mental activity. And so I can be refreshed and continue doing my work or whatever it is that I'm needing to get on with. So yeah, those are just a few thoughts that are just spontaneously have come up right now, and appreciate you all listening to me. It's wonderful to be heard and seen.
Thank you for your sharing, truly. Because I'm aware of time, I'd say this next question is going to probably be our last one. Because I also want to give you guys a bit of a few minutes just to be able to share connections and contacts and that type of thing. So the last question, which is going to Heidi, is what are some of the common obstacles or challenges people face when trying to harness the power of inquiry, and how can they overcome them?
Thank you. Thank you all so much. I have a whole page of notes. I will use some of the things that you say and give you credit. I would have to say, and I don't mean this superficially, but on the surface, there's, the fear of what's the answer, the fear of changing. We hear a lot of that, what if I change? What if I become different? How will people react around me? Many times as we grow, people sort of move away and we move into new people. For me, I think, especially with the people that I work with, what is deeply at the bottom of all of this, or the root of the obstacles to it, is the fear of how powerful we really are as people, as beings, as souls, whatever we, however somebody wants to define that. I think when you start touching that power of inquiry and really using it deeply to become who you are, it can be really scary to start feeling that, yes, I do know the answers. Yes, I am sovereign. I know everything I need to know when I go into that place. And that is really, really scary, especially when you haven't had a relationship of trust with yourself and trust with others in your world.
Yeah.
So I'll just keep my answer very short like that, so everybody has a chance to talk.
Thank you. It really is. I know who I am, but I don't know who I'm not, and it scares me, Yeah. Thank you. Beverly.
Again, thank you, Heidi, for that lovely startup. It's yeah, I think one of the biggest obstacles is similar to what Heidi just touched on. It's when you start to actually inquire, when you're no longer content, just kind of floating along like a little internal blob, just fitting, there's an ego death that comes, and we're afraid. The ego doesn't want to die. The ego wants to hold on tight, and there's an ego death that comes. There is a challenge to everything that we believe ourselves to be. And the funny thing is, you just said, well, we change. I would suggest it's that we actually become most of who we are meant to be, who we were when we were first born. And it's not so much that we change, it's we shed kind of like lizards. We shed all that stuff that got dumped on us that isn't ours to wear. And it's tough. It's not easy. It's scary. People should know this up front. It is. But oh my God, the lightness that comes from it, the freedom that comes from it, the expansiveness and the ability to be and no longer be dragged along by all this stuff that tells us in how many ways we have to fit a certain parameter or we're not worthy. Once you get rid of that, you become an observer and you can just let things kind of bounce off you. It's like having rubber darts shot at you rather than bullets, It's just this experience that is freeing, and we can do it in so many ways, whether it's sitting and actually inquiring with somebody, asking them questions and listening for an answer with your eyes, with your heart, with your everything about you, or if it's checking in with yourself and doing the same thing, moving a body differently. As Samantha was pointing, you can try, just inquire, do I really need something different? Do I need to move, or do I need to be still in the moment? So this is a forever thing. Once you start, it doesn't stop. The current will take you, but don't stop if you can help it. Don't hold on to the log and don't stop going down river. Go. You'll end up in a big, beautiful ocean.
Yeah, I agree. It's not the easiest journey, but it is the most rewarding that you could ever achieve. It's wonderful. Thank you. Esther, tis you.
Such great depth to that answer around obstacles. And I'll put up just a little bit into a little more a simple arena. And one would be, sometimes we just don't believe we have permission to ask the questions. And there is nobody else that can give us permission. So we have to grant it to ourselves. And another thing is fear that questions might be rude. Now, we don't think that of ourselves, but if we're asking questions of other people, I know that I had a dear friend who said, I grew up saying, just mind your own business. Don't ask questions because it's rude. Well, I don't think it's rude. And there can be ways and ways to do that. But so giving ourselves permission and not being afraid to challenge the status quo. And as we've all been talking, it's just so important, first and foremost, to get in touch with ourselves and ask ourselves those questions. So I'll leave it there with those obstacles.
Thank you. Yes, it takes courage, but courage is fearing something but doing it anyway. So yeah, great journey. Samantha.
Yes. Sometimes it's just a lack of energy. It takes courage and it takes energy. It takes energy to change. So I remember times in my life where I was not curious about anything. I just wanted to routine and sameness, and there's a safety and predictability in that, which is also a need. And that gets heightened with trauma, where there's no ability to take in new information. So that's the death of curiosity there, when there's trauma and we need to approach that differently. And in a similar way with autistic people, there's a processing delay. So asking questions and being too prying can really be seen as can be experienced as adding to stress for an autistic person. It's adding to their stress, because what am I meant to say, and how am I meant to answer that, and what are the expectations, and not knowing that. So those are some obstacles. Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for being here today. It's greatly appreciated. And last but not least, for the very last answer, our lovely Joanne.
Thank you. Yeah, it come to mind that I did a class yesterday, a master class with some of my my women. They've all worked with me in the past, and the class was around leaking our power, where we leak our power. After that, there was some dialogue that happened, and the challenges and these are high level women, like they're business women, they are intelligent women, and they do the work. They always doing the work. However, what came from that is that the challenges that they faced is, one was opening Pandora's box, okay, which is really common, and the fear of what they might find. And in response to that, we always need support when we're going places that we may be fearful of, or we need to have that support in going there. So I would say not do that sort of work alone, seek that professional for that purpose. And the other was wanting to go there, or wanting to get into Pandora's box because they really want to do the work. However, all the distractions, all the things that we do to prevent us from doing that, the avoidance patterns, all the patterns that we go into when to actually avoid doing that. So it's really the strategies that we come up with to just sit and feel into what that is for you. Are you avoiding it? What are you, and these are all patterns from our past and our unconsciously driving us into these places that we block ourselves from really going to that place of inquiry for us to move forward. So I think I just wanted to bring that little piece into it because it's different for everybody. And just start by doing something and being the witness of your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. Just do some little practice that's going to help you go there, but also try not to do it alone, because our minds are always going to default back to our patterns of the past, and there could be things that you don't want to see or you're not ready to see. And by the way, usually you won't see them because your mind is keeping you safe, keeping you protected. So you'll only go as deep as you can and then seek support for what else you need. Okay, so I'll leave it there. We're really pressed for time, but yeah, thank you, ladies.
Okay.
It's been amazing.
No, thank you, and thank you to all of you for the wonderful input of today. It's been an amazing conversation, and I believe that there's a lot of good stuff there for a lot of people. So thank you all. Just to tie this up right now, I know that all of your connections and ways of contacting you will be part of down the bottom of all of this. But I'd just like to go around, starting with Beverly, just to give a brief hi if you want to catch up with me on what you do.
Absolutely. Anyone can find me at rhythmofyourlife.com. Also Beverly Ackhurst on Facebook and on LinkedIn. Anybody who I do have, people can go to my website and sign up for 20-minute free connection. We work on figuring out where the rhythms are out of sync within somebody's life. But anyone who writes in a note saying they saw me on Sacred You will get 40 minutes of my time. I want to support anyone who's supporting Sacred You and finding something in there. I also have an online meditation conference. I started with a friend of mine at the beginning of COVID because we felt it was very necessary for people to find different ways of meditating that could serve them, because it does offer such value. And that will be coming up in May. It's Meditation Demystified. It's absolutely free, and they can look that up on Facebook or meditationdemystified.com. And please join. Everything is about supporting, and the more of us that come together in community, I think the better.
Yeah, thank you so much, Beverly. Esther.
Oh, thanks, Beverly. I want to connect with you around that. We're neighbors, so let's meet. And for anybody else, I would love you to come and visit the Mind Myself website, MYND Myself. I've put my contact information in the chat for you amazing panelists here with me. And we have an event coming up with 3 practitioners on March 22nd, and it's about bone health and pelvic health. And 3 amazing practitioners are going to be there, 2 doctors and somebody who is a Pilates instructor and also an osteopath practitioner, manual osteopath practitioner. So come to the website, tool around, spend 5 minutes, reach out to me if I can help direct you in any way. Please do that. Of course, I'm on socials, but really I want you to come to the website. That's where all the juice is and the information is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Samantha.
I actually have a webinar that I'm running this coming Monday on adjusting for the well-being of autistic adults. So that's on my Facebook page, Samantha Wittenberg. And yes, I'll pop all the contact details. I'll give them to Sophia. But empathyatwork.com.au is my site for speaking. I'd love to offer speaking at any group or organization or conference. So that's really that's what I want to emphasize today, and the webinar on Monday. Thanks very much. Thank you to all of you, and Kim.
No, thank you very much. Joanne?
Hi, yes, you'll find me in the Sacred You community. I run the Empower You to Live Your Best Life tribe. So anyone looking, they can come and join us there. Weekly group sessions where we come and get together and talk all things we're talking about today. So also I have I just thought of it. I just have a free gift or tool that I created for my clients that I think would be very useful as a way to start practicing that the art of self-inquiry. And so I'll pop it into the chat after we've finished, and you can access that for getting started. But yeah, also in my group, we host weekly talks with other experts, so collaborations, and that's what I love to do, working with all these beautiful women that can offer things to help and support others to grow. So that's me.
Great, thank you very much. And last but not least, our lovely Heidi.
Hello. You can reach me at my website, which is HeidiHenyon.com, and there are some books and chapters of books that you can download that will be helpful for you, as well as a 30-minute free consultation where we just talk to get to know you and find a tool that will help you within that 30 minutes. So it's a very productive, free, and you walk away with a tool. Additionally, if you do sign up for my email list, I don't send a lot of, I send like 1 or 2 emails a month at the most. I'm not great about all that stuff, but I do have 5 tools to help you become your own best friend. It's a webinar that I used to teach, and it's a conference. It's a speaking class that I do at conferences and things when I'm speaking. And if you sign up for my email list, you get access to that for free.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for your participation and the gift that you've given to not just each of us, but to everyone who's watching today. And bless you all, and may we all catch up again on another time. Take care, and thank you very much. Bye-bye now.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. What a great opportunity. Lovely to meet you all.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
This was
This has been
fabulous.
wonderful.
Thank you.
And thank you, if I can just come on and thank Kim for facilitating, and thank all you beautiful, wonderful women for spending over an hour now, sharing your wisdom on the power of inquiry. It's been a wonderful conversation. We have put all your links in all the videos. And for everyone who is watching, take some time and connect with these amazing people, even if it's just for a chat. even if it's just for that they're all offering. Click on the links in the comments and do that. And while you're at it, also come and join us for our next panel discussion, which is coming up in just 3 days' time, the metaphysical dimensions of life affirmations. Join us for that one. And come and join Sacred You. We have, as well as our beautiful Joanne, who hosts her Empowering You to Live Your Best Life tribe, we have about 20 other tribes that you can join just for $1 US. Whoops, nearly made a mistake. $1 US, and try us out for 2 weeks. So do click on the links below and come and join us. And again, thank you. Thank you for everyone for a wonderful conversation.
Thank you, as always, Sophia, for this amazing, amazing